What's going on, guys? PlotArmorCards in the house, and I am here with the most underrated deck in Master Duel. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 cards in my extra deck, and I am knocking people out of ranked duels. Holy smoke. Let's take a look at what I got so far, and then we'll go straight into the duels. So I'm running 1 copy of Fluffal Wings, 1 copy of Fluffal Octopus, 3 copies of Fluffal Owl. This card is super dope because it lets you search a poly. 1 copy of Fluffal Sheep, 2 copy of Edge Imp Sabers, 2 copies of Fluffal Bear. I only own 1 copy of Ash Blossom right now, but if I had 3, I'd be running 3. I got 3 copies of Edge Imp Scythe, 3 copies of Fluffal Dog, 3 copies of Edge Imp Chain, 3 copies of Fluffal Penguin, 1 copy of Fluffal Dolphin, 1 copy of Raigeki, 3 copies of Polymerization. I might have to actually also run Fusion Recovery because it's really useful to be recycling the polys. I run 2 copies of Fright for Fusion. I only run 2 because it banishes your monsters. I run 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. I would definitely recommend running 3 of these. I like to run 3 copies of Fright for Patchwork. Again, it searches a poly and it searches a Fright for... it also searches an Edge Imp monster. 3 copies of Toy Vendor, 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, and lastly, for my extra deck that I only run 3 monsters in, we got Fright for Wolf, Fright for Kraken, and Fright for Cruel Whale. Now, obviously, when I get more UR, when I get more CP, all that stuff, I get more money, I'm going to go and I'm going to fill out this extra deck. But I'm amazed at how good this deck is that I'm still winning duels with just 3 monsters. So, without further ado, let's take a look at some of these duels, guys. So, for this first duel, I drew 2 copies of Fluffal Bear, 1 copy of Fluffal Dog, 1 copy of Edge Imp Chain, and a poly. So usually you want to draw at least 1 Edge Imp monster and a Fluffal. So it's good because it gets your combos off. So he summons his Blue Eyes White Dragon and then uses his White Stone of Ancients to special summon his Dragon Spirit of White. I'm assuming he's intending to use his quick effect, right? So then I also draw Fright for Fusion. I'm going to use Fluffal Bear's effect to summon, to set Toy Factory directly from my deck, which is kind of okay because it helps search. But mostly you want Toy Factory in the graveyard. So I went ahead and fused, and I drew a Fluffal Penguin thanks to Fluffal Dog, and Fluffal Penguin is dope when you fuse using it. And so that allows me, that and Edge Imp Chain have effects in the graveyard, as well as Fright for Cruel Whale, which will let me double its attack and destroy 1 card I control to destroy 1 card he controls. So that allows me to pop my Toy Vendor into the graveyard, which will pop off even more combos, guys, which is really dope. And also I can double its attack. And then I drew a Fright for, I get to add a Fright for Patchwork, another Penguin to my hand, and then I get to discard a Toy Vendor, which allows me to add Edge Imp Sabers. Then I'm going to activate Fright for Patchwork, which allows me to add another Poly and another Edge Imp monster from my deck to my hand. Look at this. I am stacked. So now I'm going to go straight into another Poly, bring out my second monster, Fright for Kraken, and then, lastly, at the end, I'm going to use my Fright for Fusion to banish all the monsters that I need from the graveyard. Now, I'm banishing 4 monsters for this. It's to summon Fright for Wolf. And Fright for Wolf allows me to attack as many times as the monsters that were summoned. And this guy knows that, and so he called it a day because that would have been an easy OTK for me. Let's take a look at the next one. So next, I'm thinking this is a terrible hand because I don't have the ability to fuse from my hand right now. So I'm thinking this is kind of, I'm going to have to wait this one out. But then he starts using his effects, and I Ash Blossom, which is always useful. This is why you want 3 of these, because it just shuts them down. So he's using Thunder Dragons, by the way. So now he's using all his Thunder Dragon combos. I managed to shut 1 down, but that's not going to stop him from pulling out another 800. You know how this goes. And then he just ends, puts everything in the graveyard, calls it an end phase, and then I got a Toy Vendor. And actually, if you draw 2 Toy Vendors, it's not bad at all. And then he uses Max C, which isn't too bad for me, because I'm trying to end it right now. So then I use my Toy Vendor to destroy my Toy Vendor to draw a card. So now I have 2 Edge Imp monsters, and then I can discard this thanks to Toy Vendor's effect. So now I have 2 cards in my graveyard that I wanted to send to the graveyard, thanks to a Toy Vendor. So now I get to use their effects to just add all the cards that I need to my hand. So then I get a Fright for Patchwork as well as a Fluffal Owl. So that allows me to search a Poly and a Edge Imp Scythe. And then I can use my Poly to fuse 2 of my monsters and go straight into a boss monster, Fright for Kraken. And then I get to summon Frightful Owl, which allows me to search another poly, and then I'm going to poly again, which allows me to fuse the both of those. That allows me to go straight into Frightfur Cruel Whale. This thing is also super dope. I can destroy one on my field, one on his field, and that allows me to activate Toy Vendor's effect, and then he's going to use his thing's effect. And then I can send him one of the listed cards from my deck to the graveyard in order to double a certain monster's attack. So I double its attack, and then he's using his Thunder Dragon combos or whatever he's doing. And then Toy Vendor allows me to add a Fluffal Dog to my hand, which doesn't matter right now, but I can use Frightful Fusion now because I have so many monsters in the graveyard. That allows me to summon my last extra deck monster, Frightful Wolf. And I go straight in the battle phase. Frightful Wolf can attack a number of times because it uses, I think, 3 fusion materials. So then I can attack directly with... That's it, guys. That's all I needed to do. It takes 3 cards in this deck to win. That's another OTK.
Another one.
So next, this is actually pretty good because anytime you draw Foolish Burial Goods, you're guaranteed to get all of your combos to pop off. And this guy's using a Red Eyes deck. So he uses Red Eyes Insight to add his Red Eyes Fusion. Then he's going to go for Red Eyes Fusion immediately and fuse both of those cards in order to summon Black Meteor Comet Dragon. This card's actually pretty good. I like this card. So then he inflicts 900 damage to me, and now he's popping off all his combos, attaching his monster to that, and then setting his card. And I still have my Foolish Burial Goods, so I'm not tripping at all. And then I use my Mystical Space Typhoon on his Black Metal Dragon, which, thinking back on it, probably wasn't the best, but I still make it work. So then he's going to use his Black Metal Dragon's effect. And now my Toy Vendor pops off. I get to add 1 Edgem Sabers. Then I can use my Frightful Patchwork, which allows me to add my Poly and Edgem Chain. Now, Edgem Chain you want to send to the graveyard as quickly as possible at all times. And now I normal summon Fluffal Owl, which adds me another Poly, which is all I need. There, I can combo both of these to the graveyard, summon Frightful Kraken. I'm going to use Frightful Kraken's effect to destroy his monster, and then his monster actually has an effect in the grave, which allows him to special summon one of those monsters. I think that he used that for a fusion. And then I'm going to use my second Poly to fuse both of those to summon Frightful Cruel Whale. And then Edgem Chain will have an effect in the graveyard, and you guys already know my Cruel Whale's effect. This thing is probably the MVP of this entire thing. This has to be the MVP of this entire recording session, this entire deck. Now I can destroy one of mine to destroy one of his, and then I can add a Frightful Fusion. As well as I just added a random card because I thought I was going to win right away. So I didn't really care what I added, which was a mistake. And then I'll fuse all 3 of these to go into my Frightful Wolf, like I always do, my favorite combo. And then I had to attack with that one, and then attack directly a bunch of times with Frightful Wolf. And I believe I was eating or something at the same time, so I accidentally killed my own monster, which was a mistake on my end. But it goes to show you, even with 2 of the 3 extra deck monsters right now, I can still make something work. So he's about to go into another fusion. So in order to protect my monster, I'm going to use this effect to send a card to the graveyard, Frightful card, I believe, to the graveyard in order to double its attack. In retrospect, I maybe should have doubled Frightful Wolf's attack because it can attack 3 times. So might have been more useful. But its effect only lasts the 1 turn, so it would have been back to 2,000 the next turn, and then I would have been screwed for the next turn. So that's why I didn't do that right away. So then I normal summon Fluffal Penguin, use this effect to special summon Fluffal Octopus. Fluffal Octopus's effect will activate. That allows me to add Edgem Chain to my hand. And then I will use my Whale's effect again to double its attack, and then I will just go for it. And that's game, guys. I'm telling you, anytime I draw Foolish Burial Goods, it is the best card. I'm going first this time, which isn't the best for preferably what I like to think of as an OTK deck. But I get to send my Toy Vendor to the graveyard. That allows me to add a Fluffal Owl, which will allow me to add a Poly. And then I can use Toy Vendor's effect to pop Edgem Chain to draw a card. And then Edgem Chain will go to the graveyard, which pops off even more effects. I can add Fright for Patchwork, which allows me to add a Poly and a monster. So I add another Edgem Scythe. And then I'm going to use a Poly right away to fuse both of my monsters in order to summon Fright for Kraken in defense mode because I'm going first. So I need to play this a little bit more defensively, which honestly is kind of challenging when you only have 3 monsters in your extra deck, and all your regular deck monsters aren't that high in attack power. Then I draw another Foolish Burial Goods, which is always great. So send another Toy Vendor to the graveyard. Toy Vendor's effect will pop off. I can add Fluffal Penguin. And then I'm going to poly the both of them. And I'm going to summon Fright for a Cruel Will again. And then Fright for his effect will activate as well as Fluffal Penguin. And Fright for his second effect will also activate, sending a Fright for card to the graveyard in order to double its attack. And then I can destroy one of mine to destroy one of his. So I just destroyed one of his face downs. My Toy Vendor goes, which allows me to pop off even more combos because Toy Vendor is not once per turn. Now I can use my Fright for Fusion to summon out Fright for Wolf, which can attack a bunch of times. Now I can go straight into my battle phase, and he can't do anything about it. And that's game. Tell me this deck isn't completely underrated, guys. My name is PlotArmorCards, signing off for the night. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And oh my goodness, look at the time.
It's time to do